Hello, my friend. Let me ask you a question. Is saving money in a bank enough to give you peace, freedom, and a good future? That's what I believed for many years. I thought I was being smart. I worked hard, and every month I put some money into a savings account. It felt like the right thing to do. But one day I looked at my account and I felt something strange. My money wasn't growing. Prices were going up. Life was getting more expensive. And I still felt worried. I thought, wait, I'm saving, but I don't feel safe. Why is that? That's when I started asking deeper questions. What will I do if I lose my job next month? How will I pay for medical care if I get sick? What about my future dreams, like traveling, retiring, or starting a business? Can simple saving really help me prepare for all of that? The truth is, saving alone wasn't enough. So I started searching for answers. I read books, listened to podcasts, watched people smarter than me, and I discovered something powerful. Many people who felt free and confident with money weren't just saving, they were planning. And they used a clear system. One of the best systems I found is called the 3-bucket strategy. It sounds simple, and it is, but it changed how I think about money. It gave me structure. It gave me hope. It made me feel like I could finally prepare for both the problems I fear and the dreams I want. Now you might be wondering, why 3 buckets? Why not just 1? Or 10? Great question. Let's think about it this way. A life is not one size fits all. We have short-term needs, like food or rent. We have medium-term goals, like studying or traveling. And we have long-term dreams, like retiring or owning a home. If we treat all money the same, we can feel stuck. But when we separate it by purpose and time, we feel more calm, more focused, and more powerful. The 3-bucket strategy is based on this idea. Use today's money for today's needs, tomorrow's money for tomorrow's plans, and future money for future dreams. It's not about having a lot of money. It's about giving your money a clear job. I chose this strategy because it's simple. I could understand it and use it right away. It's flexible. It grows with me as life changes. And it's proven. Many experts and real people use it every day, people who started with just a little, just like me. In this episode and the next few, I'm going to walk you through each bucket. 1. What it's for. 2. How to build it. 3. Real stories of how it helped me and others. 4. And how you can start step by step. So whether you're new to money or just want a better system, this journey is for you. You don't need to be rich. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be open to change and willing to begin. Let's start small. Let's think big. Let's build a better future together. Now, are you ready to learn about bucket 1? Grab a notebook, take a breath, and let's go. The idea is simple. Imagine you have 3 buckets, yes, just like the ones you use for water or cleaning. But these buckets hold money, and each has a different job. Bucket 1, short-term needs. This bucket is for emergencies and things you may need in the next 1 or 2 years, like a car repair, a medical bill, or just daily expenses if you lose your job. It's very safe. You keep this money in a savings account. Bucket 2, medium-term goals. This bucket is for things you want to do in the next 3 to 5 years. Maybe take a course, go on a trip, buy a bike, or even start a small business. You can invest this money in low-risk places like government bonds or stable funds. Bucket 3, long-term dreams. This bucket is for your future. Maybe retirement, a house, or a big dream. You invest this money in things that grow over time, like index funds, stocks, or real estate. Now you might say, I don't have a lot of money. That's okay. I didn't either. You don't need a lot. What you need is a little bit of courage, a little bit of patience, and the will to take the first small step. Bucket 1, short-term needs, expanded. We all want to feel safe. Not just physically, but financially too. It's a quiet kind of strength, the feeling that no matter what life throws at you, you'll be okay. That strength starts with bucket 1. The first time I really understood the importance of this safety bucket, it wasn't during a crisis, it was in the calm before one. A warm evening, just before dinner, my phone buzzed with a message from a friend. Her bike had broken down. She didn't have the money to fix it. And in her voice, I didn't just hear worry. I heard helplessness. We talked for a while. She said, "It's not about the bike. It's how I feel when I can't solve small problems." That stayed with me, because I felt that too, feeling stuck over small things because I wasn't financially ready. That night, I promised myself to build a safety net, not for big things, but for everyday life. This is bucket 1. It doesn't make you rich. It gives you calm. It's the fun that whispers, "You're okay. You've got this." You might think you don't have extra money to save. But let me ask you this. If your phone breaks tomorrow, or if your child gets a sudden fever, can you pay for help without worry? Start small. I did. 20,000 VND a day. A quiet transfer into a small savings account. In a month, that's 600,000 VND. In 6 months, 3.6 million. It's not magic. It's math. But more than the numbers, it's a mindset shift. I call it the Peace Fund. Here's how to build it. 1. Open a savings account that's hard to touch. 2. Name it something meaningful. 3. Automate your savings. Let it grow quietly. 4. Don't use it unless it's truly needed. How much should you save? Experts say 3 to 6 months of expenses. But don't let that number scare you. Save 1 week of expenses, then 1 month, then 2. It's not a race, it's a rhythm. Sometimes people use envelopes. Others use savings features in mobile banking apps. The system doesn't matter, the habit does. Let me tell you about a woman I met, not in a class, but at a sidewalk food stall. Her name was Lean. She didn't talk about money much. But over tea, she shared how she saved 100,000 VND each week from her job at the garment factory. In 6 months, she had enough to help her dad when he needed medicine. No loans, no guilt, just quiet pride. She said, "For the first time, I felt strong." This bucket gives you that kind of strength. Sometimes, safety looks like paying for a fan when yours breaks during a heat wave. Sometimes, it's a bus ticket home. It's not about being rich. It's about being ready. When you have this fund, life feels lighter. You walk with less fear. Because you know you're covered. Not for everything, but for enough. And when you're ready, we'll talk about bucket 2. The one that helps you chase the next version of yourself. Bucket 2, medium-term goals. After I started saving with bucket 1, something inside me began to change. I no longer felt afraid of sudden problems. I started to breathe easier. That's when a new question appeared in my mind. Not, what if something bad happens? But, what good things could I make happen? That's when I met bucket 2. The bucket for dreams that aren't too far away, but not tomorrow either. The kinds of dreams that live in your heart quietly until one day you decide to listen to them. Let me explain. We all have something we wish we could do in the next few years. Maybe you want to go back to school. Maybe you want to travel to a place you've never seen. Maybe you want to buy a computer, start a small business, or help someone in your family. These dreams aren't someday dreams like retirement, but they also aren't today's emergencies. They live in the soon space. And that's where bucket 2 works best. Let me tell you about the time I dreamed of studying English abroad. It sounded impossible. I didn't have much money. I didn't know anyone who had done it. But still, the dream stayed with me. So I opened a second savings account. I called it my next step. That's all. Not big dream. Just next step. I told myself, I don't need to do everything now. I just need to save a little regularly. I started moving $50 into that account every month. Not much, but it was consistent. I also read more. I watched videos about others who saved for a goal. I learned about low-risk investment tools, like government bonds and balanced mutual funds. Things that could help my money grow, but without too much risk. I didn't touch the money. I didn't borrow from it when things got tight. I told myself, this is for the next version of me. And that version needed my help. After 1 year, I had saved enough to pay for an intensive online English course. I didn't go abroad, at least not yet, but I grew. My skills improved. My confidence grew too. And suddenly, the bigger dream didn't feel so far away. That's the power of bucket 2. It teaches you patience. And it gives you proof. Proof that you can make progress toward your dreams, even if it's slow. Here's how you can start your bucket 2. 1. Choose one clear goal. Not 10, just one. Something you want in 2 to 5 years. 2. Open a separate account. Give it a name that makes you smile. My bakery fund. Japan trip. New laptop. 3. Decide how much you can save monthly. It can be small. Even 200,000 VND a month is okay. 4. Put your money in a tool that grows. Not as risky as stocks, but better than a regular savings account. Ask your bank about balanced funds or government bonds. 5. Watch it grow, but don't touch it. Let the small steps become a path. Now, you might be wondering, but what if something comes up? What if I need that money? That's why bucket 1 exists. You already built your emergency cushion. So now bucket 2 can grow in peace. Let me tell you about another story. A young man I met in a local cafe. He was saving to buy a camera. He loved photography, but didn't have the tools. Every week, after his shift, he put a little cash into a hidden envelope in his drawer. After 6 months, he had enough to buy a second-hand DSLR. The first photo he took? A portrait of his grandmother. He framed it and gave it to her.
She cried.
He cried too. Now, he works part-time as a wedding photographer. His dream gave him more than a picture. It gave him purpose. Bucket 2 is not just about buying things. It's about creating the future you want. It could be a course that changes your job, a tool that opens a new hobby, a gift that brings meaning. Sometimes, the reward isn't the goal. It's the new version of you who arrives there. Let's go even deeper. Bucket 2 is also where you start to understand investment not just as money, but as trust. You are telling yourself, I believe in who I can become. I am worth this effort. That's powerful. Maybe you're not sure what your medium-term goal is. That's okay. Here are some ideas to help you discover it. If you had $2,000 and 1 year off from work, what would you do? If you could study anything without fear, what would it be? What skill could help you earn more or feel more confident? Your answer might surprise you. Here's a real tip. Write that answer down. On paper, not just in your mind.
Give it shape.
That's the first step. Then ask yourself, What would it cost? And how long would I need to save? Break it down. If it costs $1,000 and you save $100 per month, it will take 10 months. That's it. 10 steps. Not a mystery. Just math. Just movement. Now you're not dreaming, you're planning. Let me end with a lesson I learned from my friend Hung. She wanted to open a small coffee cart. Nothing big, just a cart to serve iced coffee and tea near a school. She had the idea for years, but she waited. She waited until she believed she was ready. One day, she opened a notebook. She wrote the costs: cart, permit, supplies, umbrella. She added it up, 9 million VND. She smiled and said, "I thought I needed 50 million, but I only needed 9. She opened her cart in 6 months. Not in a mall, not in a fancy place, just a corner near the bus stop. But it was hers. Every cup she sold reminded her, I did this. That is the soul of Bucket 2. It's not about having it all. It's about creating one clear when that tells you, yes, I can shape my life. When you see that happen once, something shifts inside you. You stop waiting for luck. You stop wishing for help. You start walking. And the best part? Every time you reach a medium-term goal, you feel closer to your long-term dream. You see the path getting clearer. So now, friend, I ask you gently, what's one thing you want to do? Not someday, but soon. What skill? What place? What dream is waiting for your yes? What small step can you take this week to begin? You already know how to be safe. That was Bucket 1. Now it's time to plan forward. With trust, with care, with Bucket 2. And when you're ready, we'll walk together into the next part of our journey. The place where your big dreams grow. The deep and steady roots of Bucket 3. Shall we go? Bucket 3, long-term dreams. There's a kind of dream that doesn't knock loudly. It waits quietly in the background, sometimes for years. It may be a small home by the beach, a quiet retirement where you don't have to worry about bills, or simply the freedom to say yes to life without checking your bank account first. That's what Bucket 3 is for. This is not about next week or next year. It's about the you who is 10, 20, even 30 years older. The version of you who worked hard, raised a family, gave to others, and who deserves to rest in peace and joy, not in stress. For a long time, I didn't think much about that future version of me. I was focused on today, on surviving, paying bills, helping my parents, just making it to the end of each month. But then one night, I was walking with my uncle, who had just retired. He had been a teacher his whole life. He smiled and said, "You know, retirement isn't about stopping work. It's about having choices." That line hit me deep. Having choices. Not being forced to work just to survive. Not depending on your children. Not worrying about every hospital bill. That's freedom. And it starts today with Bucket 3. Let me tell you what I learned from my own journey. When I turned 30, I started reading about compound interest. It sounded boring, but the more I read, the more amazed I became. One small amount of money saved and invested wisely could grow into something life-changing. I started with 500,000 VND a month. Not much, but I put it into a low-cost index fund that tracked the stock market. I learned to ride the ups and downs. I didn't panic when the market dropped. I didn't celebrate too early when it went up. I just stayed the course. 5 years later, that little investment had grown, not just in money, but in meaning. I had built a relationship with my future. I was telling that older version of me, I see you. I care about you. I've got your back. Here's how you can build Bucket 3. 1. Start early, even with small amounts. Time matters more than amount. 2. Use long-term investment tools. Think mutual funds, index funds, retirement plans, or real estate. 3. Be consistent. Make it automatic if you can, every month, without fail. 4. Let it grow. Don't touch this money. It's sacred. It's for your future dignity. 5. Review once a year. See how it's doing and adjust if needed. But don't obsess. Let me tell you about Han, a small grocery store owner in the countryside. Every time she earned a little extra, she put it into a small long-term fund. It wasn't much, but over 15 years it added up. One day, her daughter said, "Mom, you don't need to work every day now." And Han replied, "I know. I saved for this moment." That's bucket 3. Not flashy, not exciting, but full of quiet power. Sometimes we forget, especially in our 20s and 30s, that old age comes faster than we think. One day, you'll look in the mirror and see gray hairs and smile lines. Will you also see peace? Will you see someone who planned ahead? Because here's the truth. Life will test you. Inflation, health problems, job changes. But if you start preparing today, you can face the future with grace. You don't need to be a financial expert. You just need to start. Even 200,000 VND a month, invested wisely, can grow over time. There are apps now that let you invest small amounts. There are communities, like this podcast, that support you. You are not alone. So I invite you, write a letter to your 60-year-old self. Say, "I'm thinking of you." Then open a Bucket 3 account and start funding that future love. Because that's what it is, an act of love. Your new journey begins now. So now, my friend, you've met all 3 buckets. Bucket 1, for your safety, so life doesn't shake you too hard. Bucket 2, for your growth, so your dreams don't stay dreams. Bucket 3, for your freedom, so one day you get to choose how you live. It's not about being perfect. It's about being purposeful. You might be feeling excited, or maybe a little nervous. That's okay. Every strong journey begins with a small, shaky step. But I believe in you, not because I've met you, but because I've been you. I've sat at the kitchen table wondering how to make ends meet. I've walked past bookstores wishing I could afford just one class. I've dreamed of a calm retirement even when my wallet felt empty. But I started, one bucket at a time, one habit at a time. And so can you. Here's your call to action. Choose one bucket to start with this week. Set up an account. Name it. Give it meaning. Put something inside. Even 50,000 VND. Tell one friend about it. Share the journey. And if this podcast inspired you, please do one more thing. Subscribe to this channel. Share this episode with someone you care about. Leave a review so more people can hear this message. This is more than a podcast. It's a movement, a quiet revolution of people taking control of their money and their lives. Join our community. Follow me for more simple, powerful tools to build the life you want one step at a time. Until next time, I'm here cheering for you. Take care. Save smart. Dream big. And always remember, the buckets are waiting. All you have to do is begin.